Hello, everybody, and welcome to our coverage of the 43rd Vancouver International Film Festival. I said the 43rd, right?
Yeah, you did. The 43rd and the 43rd, and also the 43rd.
It's also the 43rd, but
This is the 43rd.
This is the one for 2024. We'll probably say it a few times, but this is my 9th festival. But this is Chloe's first festival, so it's a crash course. So I'm Steve Stebbing.
I'm Chloe Stebbing.
As we've already kind of surmised by it, but this is What the Hell Did We Watch at the Vancouver International Film Festival. All right, so I have made it now to Coquitlam, clearly, because Chloe is here, right here.
Yep.
And we're ready to start the Vancouver International Film Festival 2024. But it is going to be a whirlwind because we got to start off by booking our asses downtown now, getting to Van City Theatre to get our passes to get to International Village for the first movie, which is a Secret Mall Apartment. And once we get to International Village, we'll give you a little idea of what this film's all about. But I'll give you a hint: it's a documentary. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna go through Chloe's eyes to see what a first festival is really like.
Yeah, this is being filmed on my phone. Before we started recording, I already almost dropped my phone like 4 times.
Good stuff.
So we're gonna try to not smash my brand new $1,300 phone. And we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, so far so good. So let's get my 9th festival started now. Chloe's first. All right, so the next stop on our journey was to get passes. So we hit up.
Wrong side. That side.
There we go. We hit up Van City Theatre. Now on to the first film. We're heading to the International Village to check out Secret Mall Apartment, which is a documentary about a group of guys that secretly lived in a place in a mall for, I believe, over 5 years, which, given housing crises across Canada and assumedly across the United States as well, is a wild idea, but very pragmatic thinking, in my opinion. Alrighty, we just finished movie number 1 at the Vancouver International Film Festival. I gotta figure out where the camera is. It's right there. I found it. It's now pissing rain, so we are gonna now be walking through the rain and through to our next thing. I think we'll make it on time. I think we'll be good. But we just got a Secret Mall Apartment. This is a film that I picked to watch for the festival. You didn't really know a lot about it going into it. But I found this film fascinating. I found it just interesting on a character level. Just being about an artist collective that was really just looking to maybe disrupt the establishment a little bit, at its key, in a time where Providence was going through massive gentrification in the early 2000s. And in case in point, building a giant mall in the middle of the most awkward place in the city.
In a dying city.
Without any knowledge of who's even going to shop at this place, because nobody can afford it. And I mean, coming from Coquitlam and stuff, we know malls like this, like the Westwood, the ones that cater to the rich, in Coquitlam,
Yeah.
Westwood Plateau and stuff. This kind of fits in that model, but I thought the film was actually fascinating.
Yeah, I thought that it was really interesting. This film wasn't on my radar at all, but it's a very interesting anti-capitalism piece, which I'm always into. I'm always into anti-capitalism, anti-establishment. So this is a film that I think a lot of people will enjoy once it hits the mainstream.
I hope it does hit the mainstream. It doesn't feel like something that would, but
in the art world, in the art documentary world,
Yeah.
I hope at least.
yeah. So yeah, I definitely recommend. On our show, we'll give more of a key to when this will be in regular release, because I think it's interesting to look at as an art of collective project, but also something that is so ingrained. Housing is ingrained in our everyday lives and the worsening of that structure. And so this one is a definite tale of that. And I just can't believe these guys got away with 4 years of making this apartment. It's just a wild story. All right, so next up, we're heading to the Fifth Avenue Cinema, so booking it basically across downtown to make Chloe's film, one of Chloe's films of the festival. Something that wasn't on my radar, but I believe it's a Chinese film.
It is a Chinese film. It's called A Brief History of a Family, and it's about a family right after the dissolution of the one-child policy, and our bus just got here, so we'll talk about more later.
Would you guess that it's raining out right now?
I can't even see.
Yeah,
my glasses
you're
are just
blind.
pure rain.
You're blind right now, but what you're not blind in is picking movies, because
Yes.
Brief History of a Family is an absolute knockout film. I said when we came out that I struggled to find a better looking movie this year. This movie looks like $1 million at all times. Symmetry, geometry, long dolly shots, just incredible movement. And I mean, you knew more about this film going in than I did, and even you were blown away by that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the synopsis doesn't give much. It just says that it deals with a family after the lifting of the one-child policy in China. But that's not even really touched on in this film. It's kind of tacked on to the very end, just for like a brief moment. But this film was amazing. It deals with themes of loss, regret, abandonment.
Yep.
Like
Replacement.
And I mean, it's an emotional film, but the way that it's portrayed makes it like you're a little too invested to really process the emotional themes that are occurring.
I would say there's an ominous nature to the film, and you don't know that it's coming from a healthy side of actual suspicion or if it's just paranoia. And yeah, there's an insane depth. The mother, the one that played the mother in this film, absolutely had me in the palm of her hand with all of her dialogue, especially her kind of falling in love with as a parental figure to this kid that her son brings into her life, and just an incredible piece of film. I was honestly blown away by this movie.
Yeah, it's definitely in my top 5 of this year.
Yeah, just incredible. So now is the part of the first day where Chloe is going to head home to, be a parent and all that kind of stuff. And I am heading to the Rio. And my next film of today is Alice Lowe's Time Stalker, which is a film that I really know absolutely nothing about other than it was written and directed by Alice Lowe, who did Prevenge, the pregnancy horror film that I think people should check out if you haven't checked it out already. I think it might be on Shudder, but I am very much looking forward to Time Stalker. And like most films, I think the best way for a fantasy or a thriller or a horror or anything like that is to enter it cold. I guess much like I did with Brief History of a Family, just enter it cold and figure it out from there. So that's the thing. The next review will just be me solo talking about Time Stalker, and then we head into day 2, which consists of Can I Get a Witness? And what's the other one? Presence.
Yes.
Steven Soderbergh's Presence. So this is going to be interesting. Alrighty, so I'm now home from, get back in Coquitlam after watching Time Stalkers, which would finish off day 1. This is Alice Lowe's new film. She wrote and directed it and stars in it. And the title really gives it to you. Like, she is basically stalking a dude over different time periods.
in which she dies and wakes up in a new different time and ends up encountering this man of her dreams, played by Anora Bernard. Anora Bernard. He was in Dunkirk and a handful of other films. Nick Frost is in this movie. Kate Dickey's in this, and Jacob Anderson, who played Grey Worm on Game of Thrones. But sadly, when you stack this movie against what I've already watched today, being Secret Mall Apartment or Brief History of a Family, it's the paler of the three. Not to say that I didn't like the movie. I think it's an absolutely absurd movie that made me laugh quite a bit. And it's got an actress from that new Netflix show, The Decameron, in it, who I think is really, really great. I'm kind of spacing on her name right now. Hopefully Chloe can drop that name and that person in right here. But I don't know, there's a quality to this movie that is really funny and got the belly laughs out of me big time. But in the regard and holding up against other films, it's definitely a lesser one. But I hope it gets some sort of limited distribution so people can see this movie. Obviously Alice Lowe was all about pink in this movie, because this movie is very, very pink at its core, but I think that adds to its charm. So it's a solid film, and the festival is rolling along beautifully, and honestly it's probably my favorite festival that I've attended this year, and not because of the movies, but because I have a partner in crime for it, and it's been a lot of fun so far. On to day 2 tomorrow.
Alrighty, so day 2, Vancouver International Film Festival. This is our first screening at the Vancouver Playhouse. Well, we're seeing a film called Can I Get a Witness? This is Anne-Marie Fleming's new film. She did Window Horses, a film I saw at VIFF in 2016, I think, which is an animated film. But this is a live action one. Sandra Oh's in this one. This is actually a film that was on both of our lists to check out. I don't know a lot beyond that. It's like a sci-fi driven story, and I kind of kept in the dark for a little bit more of that, but I mean, it's Canadian. It's a Canadian film, and this will be our first Canadian film of the festival. So yes. Let's see what our country has in store. What are your feelings going into this film?
Like I said yesterday, it's my prediction that this film is about euthanasia, specifically euthanasia of the elderly. So I guess we'll see if I'm right on that assumption.
Yeah.
Excited.
Yeah, see you on the other side. Alright, so we just got out of Can I Get a Witness? We're deciding to get out before the Q&A. This one definitely is an affecting film, clearly, but it plays itself really close to the chest for a lot of the film, and the reasoning for the central kind of issue at the center of it. And Sandra Oh is fantastic. Both the young actors are fantastic in it. For me, it took key scenes later in the film for it to come together and actually start to affect me. And there's some issues of real dark tension in the film a couple of times, but the final scene just shakes you to your core. It's a hell of a film.
Yeah, it's definitely a conversation film. It's definitely one of those things where it's like you don't know what's right.
Yeah. And maybe nobody's right, and maybe this was the entire way to do it wrong. And I think it also digs into real issues that we're really dealing with right now, but explodes it in a big way, and in a largely unpredictable way. This movie moves in unpredictable ways. It really is an affecting film. When it comes out in a bigger release, because I'm sure Mako will release it in a bigger release, it'd be really, we'll bring it to the show and deconstruct it a bit more, because I think it's a film that deserves that. And as the first Canadian film we saw, hell of a film. And it's crazy that this is 8 years that Anne-Marie Fleming put this film together. So, and the animation that's over top the film is gorgeous. It's so interesting.
This film almost kind of reminds me of a game called Spiritfarer, which I'll talk about more once we bring it to the show. But yeah, this was definitely a film that affected me.
Yeah, clearly, right? Clearly.
But yeah, this was a beautiful film, and I would definitely recommend it to people, but it's not for the faint of heart.
No. It's dealing with some heavy issues. So now we head to the Rio Theater to check out Steven Soderbergh's new film Presence, which we have big thoughts about heading into. I just remembered earlier today, there's a film that both Chloe and I saw for another festival that was possibly getting it, but Grand Theft Hamlet is actually playing at this festival.
Oh wow, okay.
So I wanted to give it a shout out here because it's a documentary film basically about people connecting through Grand Theft Auto during the pandemic, and then decide to put on a Shakespearean production of Hamlet, which brings people that have never played Grand Theft Auto online to do this production. And it's a fascinating human experiment that is poignant and touching a lot of times, and shows that in a time where we got really dark mentally, I mean a lot of us did, in kind of a shared global trauma, that we were still able to affect positively and bring our spirits up. So interesting film for sure. All right, so we're back in the hood here in Coquitlam, Burquitlam, taking a little bit to process the film, Steven Soderbergh's Presence. Lucy Liu's in this film. I didn't know she was going to be in this movie. And as Chloe pointed out in the SkyTrain, of the 4 movies that she's seen, 3 of them have Asian leads in them. It would be A Brief History of a Family, Can I Get a Witness, and now Presence. And this movie moves so slickly. I remember reading mixed reviews on it, and I'm kind of confused to why, because it's a film that only succeeds in its entirety, but I feel like it all works. It is very start, stop.
Yes, but I really liked that stylistic choice, and because it's only 80 something minutes, I think that was the best choice.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some slick VFX in this film that, I mean, Soderbergh has kind of become a lo-fi pro throughout his career, so for him to be able to do something like this is interesting but acceptable from him. He is kind of like an auteur in that sense. But I would love to, because this one's going to be distributed by Elevation Pictures, so that's how you'll see it in Canada. I think there is a limited release coming for it in November, so I'd like to unpack it a lot more on what the hell should I watch later in the future, and give audiences a chance to see this film organically. I think the best way to see this movie is to go into it blind. Like, honestly, just know it's a ghost film from the perspective of the ghost, and there's a lot of neat camera stuff in that too.
Yeah.
But I think we want to take this opportunity now at the end of the second day to address a couple of pet peeves or slight annoyances that have come up during it. And one is the inability to keep our ticket. And it sounds like something stupid and like, why does it matter? But to an OCD psycho like me, I use this stuff to like keep track of my festival. And at this point right now, I don't have my ticket for Time Stalker. I don't have my ticket for Can I Get a Witness. She doesn't have her ticket for Can I Get a Witness either. And it's her first year. Like, we can't make a shadow box out of it. We can't make a decoration out of it because it's incomplete.
Yeah.
At this point. So that's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I'm not, and something that Chloe's finding out for the first time right now is some of the, what's the best way to put it? Just bluntly, right? Tone deaf laughter that comes in these films. And probably the most egregious one was in Can I Get a Witness, I would say, right? In like one of the pivotal final scenes of the movie, there are some lines delivered that are poignant, but they're made, just the way the audience received them made it comical, and I don't know.
It wasn't comical. Like,
no.
When people were laughing during that scene, I was just immediately annoyed. Like, you don't even get what's happening right now, do you? Like,
the weight of the situation has not resonated with you whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of annoying. Like I said, like nothing to make us stomp our feet and to get super pissy about, but just like slight annoyances. So, but at the end of it, you did your first screening at the Playhouse now.
Yeah.
And you did your first trip to the Rio.
Yes. Which
is a very special theater to us here in British Columbia and Canada, and in Vancouver. And long live the Rio, because it's a great venue. And we'll be back there tomorrow. Day 3 starts off with A Different Man, and then we made the decision that we're going to skip the Tragically Hip one because that is available now on Prime Video. It's going to be a gong show. It's going to be super busy, super sold out. So yeah, let's not play that game, and instead we're going to enjoy our love of long legs a bit more and go see the Q&A with Osgood Perkins, who already has the Monkey Shines movie coming. It's just called The Monkey now. It's based on a Stephen King novella, so I'm wondering if he's going to talk about that. I want to hear some Nicolas Cage stories. I want to hear some Maika Monroe stuff, and maybe some Gretel and Hansel stuff. That'd be interesting for him to divulge some information about, and Blackcoat's daughter. Like, there's just a lot of stuff with this guy, and this is going to be the best chance that we have to see him. So back to the Rio for that one, but starting everything off at noon tomorrow. So on to the next one, day 3. All right, day 3 of the Vancouver International Film Festival. How are you feeling?
Good.
That's a leaf blower.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. Okay, we'll have to do this again in a second. Alrighty, Vancouver International Film Festival day 3 starts now. We're about to watch A Different Man, starring Sebastian Stan and Adam Pearson. I was hearing middling things from people that have already seen it at the festival, saying that there's some jarring tones and some jarring shifts in tone. I'm obviously suffering from spoonerism right now. But I like Sebastian Stan a lot, so I have good thoughts, and I want to see Adam Pearson succeed in film for sure. And I'm looking forward to the absurdity of what's going to happen in this film. So.
I'm definitely interested to find out why people are saying what they're saying about the dramatic tone shift and just how crazy that shift is.
Yeah, exactly. But I might as well quiz you. You know, we're 3 days in the festival. How are we feeling?
Good. Tired. Got back home at 1 in the morning. Had to get up again at 8:30 and get down here. Consistently in pain, but running on pure adrenaline, basically. So.
Yeah, and we were talking about it yesterday at the Rio before Presents that this is the place where you're gonna see these more original stories and issues that don't get talked about as much. So it's like a treasure trove of things that we get to celebrate later as they come out in limited release and help get eyes on it. So. All right, so just got out of A Different Man with Sebastian Stan, Renat, I forget her name, but she was in The Worst Person in the World, which is a really, really great Norwegian film. I think it's Norwegian. And Adam Pearson.
And a sneaky cameo from Michael Shannon.
Oh my God.
Which was unexpected.
Absolutely unexpected and always welcome.
Yes.
Like, I adore him. I think this is getting this has got a limited release last week in the States, so I think in the next few weeks this film should be out in Canada in a limited to wide release. And it's absurdly funny. Like it's dark. It's about it does feel like two separate films, because one film is dealing with being deformed and kind of going through that life and then having the transition to not being deformed, and then it's a film about like stealing of somebody's spot, and it might be one of my favorite Sebastian Stan performances at this point. And there's a part at the beginning of the movie where they say, "Oh, the guy reminds me of Woody Allen," and then like that's how I kind of felt about the movie going forward. Like it is that absurd, awkward outsider type of thing.
Yeah.
And just the shift once he becomes good looking. Who becomes Sebastian Stan, essentially, like how we know him. It gets weirder and more out there. There are some trigger stuff in it, body horror wise.
Yes.
That I think is gonna have fun with people.
Yeah. I don't even know what to add. Like I need to process this a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like there is a lot to unpack in this film, I feel, because there are significant tone shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's going to take me a little bit to fully comprehend and deconstruct what this movie is trying to get across. But my immediate reaction coming off of it was just stunned amazement.
Yeah.
I disagree with the people saying that this doesn't work, that it wasn't a great film, because I do believe that it was.
I think we're on such a roll right now. It's so crazy. Every film we're seeing right now is knocking us out. But we take a little break from like film later today as we secured tickets to the talk with Osgood Perkins regarding Longlegs. So we make our way to the Rio later today for that, and then Chloe and I will both have our thoughts on that awesomeness afterwards. So very excited for that, but we're gonna go get a beer now.
Yep.
Let's do that. All right, so this is the end of day 3. We're calling it a night now. We just went to the VIFF talk with Osgood Perkins, which is something that's kind of hard to review. I feel like a talk is a little hard to review, but what I generally took away from it is Osgood's personality, for sure, which translates to the film and to his films that he's put out, for sure. But it's good to see this filmmaker kind of celebrating a win, which is deserved after Longlegs, because Longlegs is one of my favorite films of 2024 so far, for sure. And to hear him openly talk about the creative process, and bringing your personal experience to the process and how successful that can be when you do that, when you write from what you know, is very interesting, and at the end of it, like, really inspiring is honestly what I felt about it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, definitely my initial thought coming off of it was how inspiring it was. Like, it is, he's an extremely motivational speaker and breaks things down in a way where it's like, this is attainable and this is something that anybody can do as long as they A, know what they're doing, and B, have the drive to do what they want to do.
Absolutely. And honestly, in the now 9 years that I've been going to this festival, I've never taken advantage of the VIFF Talks side of it. So I'm kind of glad that we steered away from what I'm sure was a massively busy, Tragically Hip documentary screening to instead take in something about the creative process and bringing stories to the screen, and especially a movie that meant so much to both of us this year. So that was very cool, a very cool opportunity that was afforded to us by the press office at VIFF, so we're very happy about that. So on to tomorrow, which would be day 4, and our first screening of the morning will be Flow at the Vancouver Playhouse, and this is said to be probably one of the Oscar-nominated films coming in 2025, so looking forward to checking that out. All right, welcome to day 4. I feel like I'm looking older already.
Yeah, same. I'm like, this doesn't look right.
I know, I feel like I've aged. There's more grays in my hair. But this is our biggest day. This is 4 movie day. 2 movies in the Playhouse starting right now with Flow, and then 2 movies at the Rio to end our night. This is Chloe's last late night, and it's going to be an interesting day. The first film, Flow, is an animated film. Chloe, you said that you feel like it's like the Ark, like Noah's Ark, so maybe a religious connotation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be religious undertones or something like that.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. It's computer animated. Looks like it's pretty short. Looks like about an hour and 24. Let's bring up my pet peeve that I'm a little scared about right now is we weren't able to secure a ticket for the next screening, Conclave, right away. And there's a little confusion to how we do secure that ticket. So I'm a little worried that we're not going to get into Conclave, but we've got passes, so we should be able to. So we'll see. We'll see. Well, we'll update you on the next part. All right, so clearly Flow is an emotional film.
Unexpectedly.
And not with the undertones that we thought it would be. Just more, Chloe broke it down to me, it's like a class system.
It's a class issue film, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and it feels like a full-on metaphor for a lot of it. Like the landmass shrinking away and the water taking over, and it's just like infinite doom kind of almost at every turn, and then multiple species banding together to survive. And it's hard to talk about without wanting to burst into tears again.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest.
I think it specifically deals with the allegory of sink or swim. Like,
Yeah.
everybody has to sink or swim except the ruling class, the highest class. They can fly. They don't have to sink or swim. So,
and there's like a deep spirituality to
Yeah.
the film that is honestly breathtaking. A colleague Bill says this might be one of the greatest animated films ever, and I have a hard time disagreeing with that. It's so affecting, and like I felt like I couldn't stand up when the movie was over. I just felt like I couldn't I just couldn't move.
couldn't face the world again.
No. So it took me a few moments, and honestly, it was like, how am I going to talk about this without like getting overly emotional about it? So But automatically we were directed into a little bit of frustration because we didn't get early tickets for Conclave. So basically, if it wasn't for the kindness of our friends around us, it would only be one of us going to it. And that ain't happening. So we're both going to Conclave. We both got tickets and we're standing in the ticket line, which is weird. I've never done that before.
Yeah.
It's strange, but we get in Conclave, so that one's next. All right, so we just got out of Conclave, a film that we almost didn't get into, but if it wasn't for the generous help of friends and me thinking beforehand and getting a ticket, we wouldn't have got to see it. But honestly, I think this is going to be one of those Academy Award contenders when it actually does come out. Best Picture, Stanley Tucci, Best Supporting Actor.
For sure.
Ray Fiennes, Best Actor. Like, I think there's possibilities of it there. And essentially the film is about the picking of the next pope after the death of a pope. And then it gets into like serious power plays and smear campaigns and even racist and cultural diatribes and stuff. And it shows that there's still the belief of good left in the church, but there's also the strive for ambition and to elevate yourself over it, or to bring the church back entirely to archaicness, really. So it's a well done film.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There were also themes of like gender politics and sexual identity politics that were kind of expected, but not in the way that they are implemented. And it was it's a religious movie that is very refreshing from what we typically see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say that there is parts of it that I telegraphed a little bit, not to say it's predictable, but I telegraphed it. But then even with that, they still managed to just pull the rug from under you. And Edward Berger is a very interesting filmmaker. The All Quiet on the Western Front film that he did for Netflix is an incredible piece of work. And as his English language debut, which I believe this is, Conclave succeeds big time. Alrighty, so finished our third film of the day. Can you believe we've done 3 movies already today with still a 4th to come?
Yeah.
Alright, it's a crazy day. I'm crash coursing Chloe through this, so the stamina, I don't know, where's the stamina at right now?
I'm tired, but it's just watching movies.
Yeah, exactly. And as long as we keep them going.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just watching movies, so
Yeah.
don't need that much energy.
This is the good stuff.
Yeah.
I think I heard somebody sleeping in the middle of this last movie, which was Seeds, Canatillo Horn's directorial debut. She also wrote the film and stars in it. It's basically an influencer that signs a deal with a seed company that is just a horrible Monsanto-like corporation that just wants to steal seeds. And
It's Nestle.
yeah, exactly. They're stealing the water, and it sends basically after her character gets her influencer job, she goes back to the res and finds out the real evil is happening right there in town and coming after her ancestral seeds. And I mean, the film has all sorts of great intentions for sure, but it just, at the end of it, it feels like a first feature in the half-baked sense. It feels very small for the big messages that it's trying to say. It feels like it's not enough.
Yeah. There's not enough of a lot. Not enough context. Not enough
Exposition.
exposition. Not enough scenes in general.
Yeah, and it doesn't go big enough for what it's trying to do. It just feels like it just can't get over that hill, and it's an enjoyable watch. I would land on a more positive side, but it just feels like middle
but I would like to see where Kenatio goes from here, and what kind of films she wants to make, because she is definitely has some fierceness to her, some anger to her, some fire to her, and that definitely comes through, I think. All right, so the final movie for day 4, film number 4, is Parvulos. We just got out of it. It's kind of the late show for VIFF from Mexico. And there are a lot of themes going on in this movie. It even gets like lighthearted, but still dark in like the middle of it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm not sure if it's all even. I feel like there is a little. I had character issues, especially when certain turns are made in it, and then it's hard to get back on board with being behind some of these characters. So I don't know. How did you feel about this one?
I don't know. I'm pretty mixed. It was kind of like hard to kind of get a footing because things change very dramatically.
Yeah, super dramatically.
Yeah. And you remember before the movie started, I was like, "Oh, what if there's gonna be like some slapstick zombies?" Kinda.
Yeah. I mean, my jaw hurts watching this one zombie actress. Just the amount of teeth chattering in it and stuff. It just tactily, it just kind of messed with me a little bit. But I think for horror fans, they'll will like to check. It's an interesting film, and I don't know. I dig Mexican horror films quite a bit, and this one, like I said, it just has so many themes at play. Family definitely is at the heart of it, but it's playing with a lot more in the deck than that, for sure. Hello everybody, and welcome to VIFF Day 5. Losing track. Day 5. I'm taking on the day solo today as Chloe has gone down with an injury, possibly the same injury that I had last year, a little tweak in the hip, and it makes it really rusty feeling to walk. So hopefully she'll be back tomorrow and feeling better. I am on my way to Brentwood to the VIP theater for a non-VIFF screening of Megalopolis with a couple friends, and so going off the beaten path of VIFF to do some Francis Ford Coppola epic. Won't really report on this here. I'll save this for What the Hell Should We Watch, the next episode. But then I'm continuing on to the Vancouver Playhouse to watch The Piano Lesson and then Andrea Arnold's Bird, which I'm very, very excited about. So I'll give you an update on that in a little bit. All right, trying to do this discreetly here because Chloe's usually holding the camera, so it makes it easier on me. But ready to start my VIFF day. I have 2 films today, starting off here with, what am I saying again? The Piano Lesson, which is directed by Malcolm Washington, Denzel Washington's son. This one is going to appear later on Netflix, I think in a couple weeks. So this is kind of like a pre-screening of that. And, well, after Megalopolis, I think I need my palate cleansed a bit, but I'm not going to get into that here. I have a lot to drop on that. That'll be on What the Hell Should I Watch when we come back. But until then, I'm going to check out The Piano Lesson. I know nothing about it, and we'll see you on the other side, and just before Andrea Arnold's Bird with Barry Keoghan. Alrighty, so we just finished The Piano Lesson. This is Malcolm Washington kind of taking over the August Wilson adaptations for his father Denzel. I will say that I enjoyed this more than Denzel's Fences, but it definitely has some tonal shifts to it that I was not expecting, like almost a full-on supernatural horror that kind of encompasses the third act. But Danielle Detweiler is the reason to watch this movie. She gives just an absolutely incredible performance. And John David Washington proves that he is again and again giving strong performances and separating himself from his father in a big way. But this one's going to be on Netflix. I think it's a November release for this one, so keep an eye out for that. And now I head into Bird, which is Mubi's other release besides The Substance this year, which is already a very strong year for that releasing production company, releasing company. So looking forward to this. This is Andrea Arnold's new film, and it's got Barry Keoghan in it, so already a favorite right there. All right, now back in Coquitlam after watching Bird at the Vancouver Playhouse, the final screening for day 5. And Andrea Arnold's new film Bird is another incredible example of her excelling when she goes in that coming of age sandbox. With Fish Tank and American Honey and Bird, she has the adolescent voice down really well, and also the marginalized and kind of poor household. She knows this trope, this vein of storytelling very well. Barry Keoghan is incredible in this film, but he is very supporting in this one. This is Nakia Adams. I think Adams is her last name. This is her film. She plays Bailey, the main character of this one, who has young parents, young and brash and punk rock and impulsive young parents, and her life feels out of control being in this, but then she meets this character Bird, played by Franz Rogalski, who is an incredible international talent. If you haven't seen Passages, it's a must-see film. But Andrea Arnold takes bigger chances thematically in this film than I've seen her take before. And it gets to a point in the third act that I was really wondering if she was going to go full bore with this. And without giving spoilers, I'll tell you, yes, she does. She goes full bore. I'm excited for when this comes out in a full release, because Mubi, I think, has another great film on their hands after The Substance. It won't be a box office success like The Substance was, but I think it'll still make a mark, I think, and hopefully the hot streak of Barry Keoghan continues, because I think audiences deserve to see this film. So on to the next day tomorrow. Chloe will be back with me, and our first movie of the day is going to be at the gorgeously revamped VIFF Theater, or the Van City Theater, down on Seymour. And I'm excited to get back in that theater, because I haven't seen a film in there since the Brian De Palma retrospective with Scarface. So it's been years, so I'm excited for that. Hello and welcome to day 6 of the Vancouver International Film Festival, 43rd edition. Who's back with us today?
Yeah. I'm not a cripple anymore. Well, I'm still a cripple.
Yes.
But I'm here.
The injury is still prevalent there. She's got the same injury that I had like last year, like a hip, like flexor, like joint deep embedded in the muscle maybe. Like we're not sure. We don't know if we'll need surgery for next year. You know, like she has to go on the injury reserve list or whatever, but she's making it so far. She's powering through. And we're starting off today with one of your movies that was on your list, Marcos, The Invented Truth.
Yes.
It's a documentary, as you were explaining it.
Yeah, it's a documentary, if I'm remembering correctly, it's a documentary about a Italian man who lied about being a Holocaust survivor, and kind of just him lying about that and becoming like a huge voice for Holocaust survivors, even though he wasn't one in the first place.
But the big thing is we get to check this out at the Vancouver International Film Festival Theater, Van City Theater, who recently had like a renovation and all new seats and everything put in. So I'm excited to check out this screening. So I haven't been in this theater for, I feel like maybe 7 or 8 years since the Brian De Palma retrospective where they screened Scarface. That was the last film I saw in this theater. So it's been a long time. So I'm excited to see that. And then we continue for some Canadian horror comedy with Rumors. And then I venture alone for Sean Baker's Anora to finish the day. But we'll get to that when we get to it. But let's get into the Van City Theater first. Alrighty, so we just finished Marco, The Invented Truth at the Van City Theater, the very comfortable Van City Theater. Like, I have to say, probably the most comfortable place of the entire festival at this
Definitely,
point. Like,
yeah.
I felt cushy, felt nice. The air conditioning wasn't too much or too little. Like, it was just kind of like perfect.
Yeah.
But this is a frustrating film, and not because the film was bad, but because the main character is consistently boxed in by 3 decades of lies, and it just spirals out of control, and then gets even worse when he starts to double and triple down on some stuff, and then still play the victim.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially he's using victimhood from the Holocaust to curry like an almost hero complex like thing. Like,
Yeah, like nobody would have cared about the Holocaust victims if it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
If I didn't lie and say that I was one.
Yeah, so he takes this crazy ownership of something that he had no ability to actually take that ownership, that it was all a lie, and would never, like, I think the point is, like, never apologized about it for a second. So it's kind of it's a wild story in that sense, and the fact that he was almost indignantly ignorant to the fact that he's been found out, and now that his reputation should be tarnished. It should be done. He should not be regarded in any sense. And it's just kind of crazy to see, in the face of all the damage that he's caused by his lies, that he still refuses to acknowledge that he's hurt people or destroyed the movement and care for those people, for the deportees during the Holocaust. And it's kind of a wild thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, solid movie at the end, and nothing as deeply affecting maybe one of the lesser ones on this list, but I'm so glad we checked it out, so thanks. Alrighty, so we're back at the Playhouse for what's going to be Chloe's penultimate last film of the film festival. So we got one more after this, which is on Thursday, because we're skipping the festival tomorrow to do Joker Folie à Deux, which will be on our What the Hell Should We Watch episode next. But yeah, we're back at the Playhouse to do Guy Madden's new film, Rumors, who I have a friend that's seen it at the festival, saw the press screening, and said, stay away. So maybe a low bar is maybe warranted, but I'm just going to go in with an open mind, because the synopsis doesn't really do a thing for the movie.
No, not a single thing.
Yeah, so I don't know what we're in store for, but it's going to be weird, and it's going to be decidedly Guy Madden fueled. Alright, so the credits just hit about 10 minutes ago for Guy Madden's Rumors. And I don't
know. What do you make of this movie? This is absurd political theater, essentially, like satire theater.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it I didn't get. Like zombies jerking off all over the place.
Till they explode.
Combust. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's wild. It's all over the place, but it's got a really good cast. I mean, Kate Blanchett's in this one. Roy Dupuis, Dennis Menashe. I mean, it's wildly cast. Even Alicia Vikander comes in near the end of the film, and it's just basically it's like a G7 summit meeting. And they're trying to formulate an agreement for the betterment of the world, which is just like this complete incohesive mess. And ends up erecting a giant sundial. I don't know, like it goes wild in wild directions, and the political metaphors of race relations and countries' histories, and I don't know. It's a wild one to unpack. But this is the end of Chloe's night. I continue on to Sean Baker's Palme d'Or award-winning Anora to finish the night. And then there's just one more for us in this festival that we're going to check out, and that will be on the Thursday. And then we'll be back to wrap things up at the end of this. So yeah, we're getting near the end, but the next review is going to be a solo one for me until Chloe rejoins on the final film. Alrighty, I'm back now in Coquitlam after watching Anora, Sean Baker's new film, and this 2024 best of list is going to be really tough for me. I'm going to really need to do a lot of deep soul searching when it comes to picking what my favorite movies of the year are, because Anora is another one that's now joined that ever-growing list of great films in this year. Sean Baker seems to have entered a new part of his career that it feels more accessible, but still in the vein of how Sean Baker makes his films, and how unflinching he is to his subject matter. Mikey Madison should be in the conversation for Best Actress. It's an incredible performance. Annie is a vibrant character, just leaps off the screen. And the wildness that this movie goes through, it's always vibing. Like, it's always electric, and it's always interesting. And Sean Baker, man, he just delivers on every level, and I'm trying to expose Chloe to his films so that the next VIFF, where there's a Sean Baker presentation, that she'll be with me and just as pumped to see it. But so ends another day at VIFF. We just have one more day that we're attending, one more screening, one last screening. And then that will put the cap on the 43rd annual Vancouver International Film Festival. So let's get one more, eh? Okay, so it's our day 7. This is going to be our final day for the festival, because I'm going to fly back to Penticton on Friday. And it will be for I'm Still Here as our final screening at the Vancouver Playhouse. This is a Walter Salles film that takes place in Brazil, 1971. A very changing time for Brazil at the time. So this is a very personal film from Walter Salles. So looking forward to this one. A little bit sad that this is the end of our festival and we won't see Night Bitch or The End or Emilia Perez or Saturday Night. But all those films will be coming out in the next handful of weeks.
I over the last night and today watched Matt and Mara with Matt Johnson and Dara Campbell, I believe, and basically it's about a woman in a relationship that a marriage that is kind of stagnating, and she comes across a person from her past played by Matt Johnson, and the two have a really great chemistry and great rapport, and it's just one of those really light feeling films where you just can really get into the characters and how they interact. I also watched Black Dog, which is a Chinese film about a ex-con who gets out of prison and goes to his hometown and gets a job working as like the dog patrol, rounding up stray dogs before the 2008 Olympics. Just to kind of clean out the cities, and ends up making a bond with this black lab that's just one of the strays in the area. And it's kind of a slight film, a little slow burn, a little quiet, but if you're a dog lover, you'd be into this film for sure. So I feel like both, maybe not Matt and Mara, but Black Dog would have benefited from seeing it at the Playhouse, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. So on to our last movie now. Alrighty, so we just got out of our final screening for VIFF 2024, or the 43rd annual VIFF. This is I'm Still Here, directed by Walter Salles, from Brazil, and I thought this was an affecting family drama against the brutal legal kidnappings in Rio de Janeiro during the early 70s, and how it disrupts an entire family and turns the mother into like a crusader. She had to be strong for the family and strong in her fight to find the truth, which took decades to find the actual truth. And especially coming off a Hollywood movie that we watched yesterday. I'll talk about that on the next episode of What the Hell Should I Watch. It's interesting, like, this is how you do exposition to get you care about characters, and it's not addressing it's not addressing the exposition of the character to be like, we've been married for 14 years. You have 3 brothers, like saying things out, but you just have to let them live on camera to set it up. And I mean, even when the father gets taken away, I still was interested in the father's character. Like you could tell how close-knit this family was. Yeah. And I think I enjoyed it on that level.
This isn't typically my type of film, and I did get bored at some parts throughout it. But one thing I will say about this film is it is beautifully shot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like every shot is just amazing. Yeah. So that's I think my biggest appeal or appreciation for this film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was an interesting film to end the festival on, I think. And it was a long one too. It's sitting at over 2 hours. I think it's 2 hours and 15 minutes when all said and done. So a long one to close it out. All right, so that is the end of our day 7, which is really the end of our film festival. Sad as it is, we've taken a bunch of films. We sadly won't be able to see Night Bitch or The End or Emilia Perez or Saturday Night, but those are films that are going to be released over the next 6 weeks anyway. So how did you enjoy your first festival?
I did. We got a lot of good films in. We saw some off the VIFF list that were not so great.
Yes, and that took us away from good films.
Exactly. So I will forever scorn Joker 2. But overall, the festival was really good. I really enjoyed it, and like I said to you the other day, I mean, like, I truly feel like I found my niche in the film world, because like I've stated on the show many times, Hollywood's been letting me down, and they let me down again.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
yesterday. So yeah, this was a really great experience.
What was your favorite film of the festival?
I think it has to be Can I Get a Witness? And I think it's also my number one for the year.
My favorite film of the festival was Anora. Sean Baker's the Palme d'Or winning film. I can't wait for you to see it. I think it's just like a special experience. And Sean Baker making his way to the mainstream and having kind of a mainstream accessible film, but at the same time still being absolutely his voice. And if Mikey Madison isn't going to get an Academy Award nomination this year, it's broken. The system's broken. What do you think is the biggest surprise for you this year?
The biggest surprise, I don't know, it's kind of a tie between Conclave and Flow.
Mm-hmm.
I was really surprised by the depth and emotion contained within Flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I would say Flow is my biggest surprise this year. It stirred emotions. It was probably the most emotional that I got with the films this year was Flow. And it stirs you up, especially in the last 15 minutes of that movie, because it's short. It's like an hour and 24. It's short, but it really utilizes its time well. And it really got me. But I want to take this opportunity to thank the VIFF press office for being so awesome to us, for giving both of us access to not only the full festival, but also that Oz Perkins talk as well, which is not on the pass holders list that we're able to do that. So everybody at the VIFF office, Laura Murray and everything, for making that happen for us. We're very, very grateful. So yeah, that's it for us. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Threads at The Steeple Dead.
You can find me on Letterboxd at HoneyBunChloe.
And we have updated our entire festival run there, and I've even created a list of that as well. And then the next video, we're right back to what the hell should I watch, including some of the off the festival path films that we saw. And yeah, we'll get some vitriol out there. But until then, thank you everybody for checking out our coverage of the Vancouver International Film Festival. We can't wait for number 44. And we'll tackle it a little differently next year. But this is year one for this show. So baby steps, right? Baby steps.